Cooking with Lana, it's cooking with what you got.
Hey everyone! Today we're going to make cheddar and green onion biscuits. For this recipe, you're going to need flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, cracked pepper, butter, sour cream, and cheese. If you wanted to make these biscuits plain, you would omit the black pepper and the green onions and the cheddar cheese. This is a really great recipe, and it's also very easy to cut in half. So I hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, today we're going to make green onion and cheddar biscuits. Go on ahead and follow along with me. The recipe will be below. To start, I have 5 cups of flour. This recipe makes 16 biscuits, so you can definitely cut it in half if you'd like. But I'm going to make a full 16. So like I said, we're going to start with 5 cups of flour. We're going to add in 5 teaspoons of salt and 2 teaspoons of black pepper. I use kosher salt because I like it more, just a better seasoning, but use what you have, as we always say. Then we're going to add 2.5 teaspoons of white sugar to that, and we're going to add our baking powder, just 3.5 teaspoons, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So that's all of our dry ingredients. Go ahead and just mix that up. You can definitely use a whisk if you want, but I definitely like breaking up all the little pieces of flour with my hands. Okay. The next step we're going to do is called cutting in, and we're going to go on ahead and cut in 3 sticks of butter. This butter I kept in my freezer. It's good to keep your butter in the freezer for things like biscuits, because the colder your fat is, the flakier your biscuit or whatever pastry you're making will be. So I took 3 sticks of butter and cut them into little pats. I'm just going to put them in here. I'm just going to toss them in here to coat. And you can take your hands and break them apart, but I have what's called a pastry cutter, which is this tool here. It has these little blades. They're not sharp or anything, but this is what's going to help me cut the butter so I don't have to use my hands. And that's actually great because your hands are very warm and it'll break down the fat faster. So I'm going to cut my butter in, and we want to get about a pea size. So that's what we're looking for. So we break this down. Every once in a while, if you're using a pastry cutter, just sort of brush the stuck-on butter in there. Okay. Biscuits are kind of a big deal in my family. My grandma is from Iowa, and my other grandma is from Michigan, but she was a farmer, so biscuits are a really big part of most of our dinners when I'm with family, but also just remind me about growing up, about holidays with my family. There's always a biscuit around. I really like a savory biscuit. This one has cheddar cheese and green onion in it, which is a really yummy addition. But you can definitely take out the cheddar and green onion and the black pepper, and you could just do a plain biscuit. And then when you put it in the oven, you could top it with a little bit of sugar, and that would be delicious for breakfast or maybe a strawberry shortcake. All right. So just use your muscles here to cut in that butter. Break it down into smaller pieces. If you have a food processor, you can definitely use that as well. That's another good tool. You would just put all of your dry ingredients into the bowl of your food processor and then pulse in the butter until you got those pea-sized little chunks of butter. So I'm almost there. I'm not seeing many big chunks left. And you'll notice that the texture of your flour will change. It'll almost feel like wet sand at the beach. And that's kind of what you're going for. So just keep cutting it in. All right. That looks pretty good. Excellent. Just gonna run my hands through it really quick. Make sure there's no big chunks. Amazing. So now, any sort of larger pieces, just sort of flatten them. And then I'm gonna take my green onions, about 16 green onions that I chopped up. Put those in. I have about 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese. I'm gonna put that in. Just gonna toss that. Make sure it's combined. This is just gonna ensure that all of your green onions are evenly dispersed. Great. Then you're gonna take your sour cream. We have about 2.5 cups of sour cream here, and make like a little well in the middle of your bowl. And dump in your sour cream. Dump it right in there. Be sure to get it off all the sides. So I'm using full fat sour cream. If you had yogurt, like full fat Greek yogurt, that would definitely work in here. If you wanted to make this recipe vegan, I've done it before where you use vegan butter in place of the regular butter. Vegan cheddar cheese shreds, and instead of the sour cream, I've used vegan plain yogurt, and they turned out great. So whatever you want to do. And then now we're just gonna mix this in. So I just kind of fold it. We're gonna need to get in there with our hands, but just initially, so I don't get sour cream all over my hands, just gonna mix it in. going. Great. Dough's coming together here. All right. So I'm going to dump all of this out on my counter. But in order to make sure nothing sticks, I'm going to take some flour and just sprinkle it onto my work surface. Okay. Dump out all of my biscuit dough. And I'm going to press it with my hands and sort of form it as best I can into a rectangle, because we're gonna fold it so we get those layers. So sort of imagine that you were making a 9x13 situation. Just in your mind, pretend that you're creating a casserole dish size. And this is called a bench scraper. You don't have to use this. You could definitely use a spatula. It's really helpful for situations like this. So I'm gonna get under and fold. It's okay that it's crumbly. So I'm gonna get under and fold that side. And I'm gonna get under the other side and fold up. Anytime that you're folding in threes, it's called a letter fold, because you're folding it like a letter. Okay, so I'm gonna push it back together. All right, and we're gonna do that again, so sort of flatten it out a little bit. And we're gonna do that again. So I'm gonna get under, fold up. Get under on this side, fold up. Okay, turn it this way. It's okay if it's a little crumbly. And I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna help myself out a little bit by using my rolling pin. I'm gonna do that fold one more time. So I'm going to create my rectangle, pick up from the side, fold it up, press down, and come around. Pick up from the side, fold it up. All right. So this recipe, like I said, makes about 16. So I'm gonna cut this in half and work with 1/2 at a time. So I'm gonna move half of it to the side. Okay. Working with one, I'm just gonna kind of pat it into a rectangle. I'm gonna use my bench scraper here to help me out, to make it a perfectly squared rectangle. So you just push against it. You want it to be even all around. Okay, that's pretty good to me. Okay, great. Now you're gonna cut into 8. So you're going to cut it in half first. Okay. And you can push your corners up a little bit to get a more even top. I'm kind of just like squaring off the sides there, just so when I do cut it, it will be even with the other pieces and not smaller. Okay. So, going to first cut it in half, cut it in half again, cut it in half. Okay, so you have 4 pieces. Now take your hands and just work quickly. Don't mess with it too much. Sort of press the sides so that you make an evenly shaped biscuit. Okay. So push it up a little bit. There it is. Next one. Square it off. Great. Get all of your extra dry stuff out of the way and repeat. So you're going to take this, cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it on the other side. Okay. And you're going to repeat with your other half of your dough. Just go on ahead and grab the other half of your dough now. Press it into that rectangle. And repeat the same process. So, push. It's okay, like I said, if your dough's a little crumbly, it's gonna make a flakier biscuit. You don't wanna add too much liquid, and you don't wanna mess with your dough too much. Okay, that looks pretty good. Cut it in half, lengthwise. Working with one at a time. Cut in half again. Cut in half. Okay. All right. Okay. And fix your tops if they're crumbling a little bit. Last one, cut in half again, cut in half. Okay, sort of move the leftover dough debris to the side. You can also use your bench scraper to pick up your biscuits. Just gonna move a few out of the way. Okay. Now what you're gonna do is grab a baking sheet. You can use parchment or a silicone mat like I have here, which is super helpful. Get a small container or cup and put about a 1/4 cup of cream in. Heavy whipping cream is great. If you're doing this vegan, you can use either aquafaba, which is the liquid from chickpeas, or I will sometimes use coconut milk. Full fat coconut milk works great as a cream substitute. So get your baking sheet. And if any of them stick, because there's a lot of sour cream and butter in there, just use your bench scraper. And you can put them about that far apart. Okay. So just lift them on. Probably gonna do 8 per tray. Once you have 8 on your tray, bread and you're gonna brush them. Gonna brush them with your cream. So just take a pastry brush and just brush the top gently with cream. It's okay if some of the dough sticks. There we go. There we go. Lovely. Brush, brush, brush. So the reason that you brush with cream is that that's what's going to brown the top of your biscuit. So just keep brushing with cream. Once you do this tray, you'll do the other. Amazing. So you're gonna put your biscuits into a 425 degree oven, which is pretty warm, but very typical of this type of baked good. And you're gonna bake it for 18 to 22 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna put this one in. And do your next tray. So I have another silicone mat. I'm just going to plop my other biscuits on. Great. These biscuits are great on their own with the cheese and the onions. They make fantastic breakfast sandwiches. So you could scramble an egg and then put that in the middle. They also are really good if you're into like a sweet savory. I like a sweet savory sometimes, so like apricot jam's kind of good. Or if you're feeling like more of a classic situation, just butter or cream cheese. They're also just really, really good on their own. So brush these with cream. Okay, let's put those in too. All right, and now we clean up. All right, you guys, here's our finished biscuits. Oh, they look so great. Look how much they rose. Look at all those layers we made together. All right, if you all make this recipe, totally feel free to share it with us. We'd love to see pictures or videos, and I really look forward to baking with everyone when we're able to meet again, hopefully soon. But I hope this brings some warmth and some joy to your kitchen. All right, enjoy, you guys.